Hello, Amelia Hirschfield here. I am an entrepreneur who has been working on changing the inner world and then watching as the outer world changes. I've gone from being quite unhappy with really all areas of my life to being proud of myself and starting to see some really cool things come into play on top of the other things I've already accomplished. And I've got my dog behind me here. She might be moving a bit, but today, super important topic, and specifically talking to INFJs. And the reason why I break this down based on different Myers-Briggs types are Myers-Briggs types are wired differently. So that means the 16 different types, they're wired 16 different ways. And with the different wiring creates different weaknesses, but also different strengths. And the cool thing is as we cut some of the fear that some of the weaknesses can have, people are so much more stronger. People can be themselves more. They're so much more confident. And it's all by what this work does is pair your Myers-Briggs type with recognizing the inner child work with that. Creates a really cool method for understanding your thoughts, understanding what's going on inside of your mind, because so many people are like, calm down, meditate, do stuff that gets you to relax, which is great. But the problem is you're still going to be stuck with your thoughts. When you stop meditating, your thoughts are going to come back, and they're going to be there sometimes when you meditate. And even when you're off being in the moment, that's great, but your thoughts are going to come back to you. So you're going to be stuck with them and you'll be stuck with them for the rest of your life. So why don't you figure out and sort them out so you're not having to deal with the same unhelpful, nagging thoughts that are stressful and you feel out of whack with your thoughts and your feelings and what's going on inside of you. So that is something I help clients with. So INFJs today talking to you, and it's really a really important topic that their 10-year-old. So a little bit of typology here. You don't have to know everything, but the INFJ's third least used function, or the second least used function, third most used function is the inward facing thinking. And the inward facing thinking operates in a black and white world. So it's either knows stuff or it doesn't. Things are either right or they're wrong. Things either make sense or they don't. And there's no gray areas of like, I have to know or I can't know. So it's like either I have to know or I don't care. So it's there's not a lot of gray areas in this. And so the problem is when things can fall into the gray areas of those two realms, INFJs can get quite tripped up and struggle with that because they can take that personally. So they can take things that they've done wrong as meaning something is wrong with them. So like if they messed up and they thought they knew something and it ended up being wrong, they can go, oh shit, I'm wrong. My worth as a person is wrong. I'm inherently wrong here. And that can be really confusing to separate and kind of tear apart here, because it's like, just because you didn't know something or what you knew was wrong doesn't mean that about you as a person. It means that your TI was wrong in that one instance. That doesn't mean your TI is wrong. Period. So it's like you have to separate your behavior and what you knew in that one way against all of your other behavior throughout your day, all of your other knowledge. And it's like, just because you mess up in that one way does not mean that you are wrong. And when you believe this, it's very scary to talk about things that you know, because you're like, if I'm wrong, then that makes me wrong. And I don't want to sacrifice myself. I don't want to sacrifice my worth as a person against this little, it can feel like inconsequential thing, or this thing that doesn't really matter that much. So it's like, I can't risk my worth on these things or stuff that I might not be 100% certain on. So I'm not going to put myself out there because that's too much of a jump. That's too much of a risk to me. So I'm just not going to do it at all. So you fall into this black or white behavior as well, which which comes down to your 10-year-old inner child. They're black or white. Anytime you see yourself doing all or nothing, that's a great sign that your 10-year-old inner child, the inward facing thinking, is involved somewhere in that behavior. And to break your 10-year-old's grasp on this, it's really important to start like talking to it and be like, hey, sweetheart, just because you were wrong in this one way doesn't mean you are wrong all the time, or doesn't mean that you are inherently wrong. It just means you didn't know that one thing. And if you can learn that, and if you want to keep learning, then it's not like you are going to be wrong. It's just meaning that you didn't know the right information in that one way. And that can help relax you. That can help that part of you feel less scared about putting yourself out there. And once it finally relaxes, it's like your self-worth relaxes, and you're able to become so much more confident, because you know, when you are wrong in one way, it doesn't mean that you are wrong as a person. And that's a beautiful separation to any person. And when your 10-year-old really understands this, it knows this like permanently. So it's not like you're going to have to keep teaching this over and over and over and over and over to yourself for the rest of your life. It's just that you get to repeat it and show it how to do that, which can take time at first, especially if you don't have great communication with your 10-year-old inner child. If your 10-year-old inner child doesn't trust you, if you don't know how to communicate with your 10-year-old child, these can be all massive barriers. But for people who know how to do this, it can actually be quite quick with this, where you can like learn this, point out a couple things, reinforce this in a couple different ways. And then it's like, okay, I've got this. And that process is what I help with clients. No, it's like, just because you've done something wrong, sweetheart, it doesn't mean that you are wrong as a person. And getting to teach that to people is a beautiful process, watching them talk to themselves differently and start to hear their different challenges going on internally. So then they start paving a different path that has less resistance. And anytime something has less resistance, they can move faster. So they can build the business that they want. They can create the impact that they want. They can change the world in the way that they want so much easier when they know that me being wrong in this one way doesn't mean that I'm wrong. And if you are someone who is like over this, like, I'm ready to not be taking this personally, it's slowing me down, it's not getting me where I want to go quickly, it's causing me stress in ways that you probably don't know, it's probably causing you anxiety because there's a lot of internal stuff going on that maybe you realize you have, maybe you don't, that can come with this. So that can cause a lot of uncertainty with other people. So if you see yourself anxious in these situations, that's normal. And this is all something I help clients overcome, because if you can, like I said, know how to relate to your 10-year-old and your child, get them to trust you and know how to start talking to themselves, this can break apart so much faster than dealing with this for the rest of your life. And life is short. You've got stuff to do. And I want you to be blazing your own brilliant path, helping the people that you want to do in your right way. And not realizing like you don't have to deal with this for the rest of your life. So if you're over this and you want to talk a bit more about this, I have a free 30-minute call. It's on you can find it on ameliahartsfield.com / I think it's connect, or just go to my website, ameliahartsfield.com. There's the connect page, fill that form out, and we will have a quick chat and see where you're at with this. And if you're right for my work, I love working with the right people. And, if you're right, I will tell you. And if you're not, I will tell you as well, and give you some people that would be right, because, it's important for you to work with the right people, because that's good for you. So, yep, cool. That is it today. Really important to feel worthy, and understand just because you do something wrong, you are not wrong as a person. That can help your life so much and create so much more freedom. And I just really want everyone to have that ability, because it's so nice. Someone who used to used to feel like this and now is on the other side of it. It's very, very freeing, and I can teach you how. So cool. I will see you on the next video.